Greetings, champions! After our tough battle against Xal'atath and her forces in Hallowfall, we had time to catch our breath. But the events in Hallowfall were only a grim foretaste of what is to come. We saw what Xal'atath is capable of when she unleashed the black blood and plunged the priory of the sacred flame into eternal shadow. We were able to stop her in her tracks and destroy the Dark Heart in the process. But was the destruction of the Dark Heart really a victory? She herself warned us that this would hardly change anything. And she was right. In this video, I'll take you on a journey to understand the true power of Xal'atath, the weapon that could change everything. I will show you what the Black Blood really is, why the Dark Heart is just a toy in comparison, and how Azeroth's fate hangs in the balance in the war within. The Black Blood is a sinister substance that comes from the old gods, the ancient beings who once ruled Azeroth during the Black Empire. But even though all of the old gods on Azeroth have been destroyed, their blood lives on. Xal'atath herself revealed that she has survived countless empires. That leaves one conclusion. The old gods have but one purpose: the creation of the Black Blood. They burrow deep into the surface of a planet until they can tap into the liquid essence of the world's soul. They corrupt this energy and store it beneath the surface of their empires. But they never come too close to the world's soul, so as not to be too exposed to the soul's influence. We know what Azeroth did to the Earthen who came too close to her. We know from the Shahs of Pandaria that the blood has the ability to be charged with negative emotions such as fear, hatred, or despair. As soon as this happens, it unleashes its destructive power and forces its victims into precisely this emotional state. The victims have no way of escaping this influence. But even without the charge of negative emotions, the Black Blood in its pure form is extremely dangerous. Anyone who comes into contact with it is drawn into a dark in-between dimension, the unseeming, a void plane that corrupts the minds and souls of its victims and keeps them trapped there. In this dimension, the victims inevitably fall into madness. Therefore, the Black Blood has the power to weaken the veil that separates the reality of Azeroth from the void, similar to the veil between the Shadowlands and the mortal world. And if you think that's all the Black Blood can do, you're wrong. Think of the Nerubians in Azj-Kahet. It can be injected into mortal beings to transform them into even stronger beings. However, this process carries a high level of risk. The first Nerubian to be experimented on was the former Queen Neferis, the first sacrifice the new Spider Queen offered to Xal'atath. But the experiment failed. She lost her royal form and parts of her mind while fighting against the influence of the blood. In the end, all that remained was a monstrosity with a broken soul and a shattered mind. But those who survive the process become horrific creatures, the so-called Ascended, a humanoid form of the Nerubians. Or they turn into monstrous abominations like the Sky Razors, or even like Zekvir. Not to mention that we witnessed Xal'atath mind-controlling an Ascended and setting her on us. It's a powerful all-purpose weapon. Can we say the same about the Dark Heart? It doesn't even come close to the power and the potential of the Black Blood. But the most important factor in preparing Azeroth's downfall is having enough blood with the various negative emotions. The emotions that make the Black Blood so powerful are those we know from our encounter with the Shahs. Pride, anger, despair, fear, hatred, violence, and doubt. Each of these emotions are essential to Xal'atath's plan to break the world's soul and plunge the entire planet into darkness. The real challenge will be to harvest these emotions from the mortals on Azeroth. So, how will she harvest these powerful emotions? Xal'atath has developed a perfidious system to charge the black blood with the destructive emotions of Azeroth's living beings. She deliberately manipulates peoples and personalities in order to turn their emotions into a weapon that she can use for her dark plans. Let's talk about the possibilities to harvest the emotions for the black blood. Despair, fear, and doubt. These emotions are an especially easy target for Xal'atath when it comes to the Nerubians. Without their queen, Surek, they are in a desperate situation. Surek had promised her people a glorious future, but now the Nerubians are weaker than ever. Their hopelessness and doubt are a direct result of their loss, a loss that Xal'atath deliberately brought about. She left Surek to die in the Nerebar Palace to inflict precisely these emotional wounds and feed the black blood with her torment and the new despair of her people. Pride. For this emotion, Xal'atath turns to the goblins, perhaps the proudest and most arrogant race in Azeroth. As tireless capitalists, they boast about their wealth, no matter how it was earned, and wear their greed and pride like a badge of honor. A prime example of this is Jester Gallowix, who is the embodiment of greed, gluttony, and pride. For Xal'atath, the goblins are a gold mine, and she may even mourn Garrosh, our beloved former war chief. As Revendreth's strongest workhorse, he would have been an ideal source of pride, but as we know, Blizzard had other plans for him. Hatred, anger, and violence. These emotions are perhaps the easiest for Xal'atath to harvest. Well, at least they were. She herself revealed her plan to Illyria and her allies. They know now that she is provoking battles to charge the black blood with the emotions of hatred and anger. Therefore, it will be difficult for her to engage the Horde, the Alliance, and their allies in open war in Khadgar. Unless she forces them to. Precisely because the enemy now knows her plan with the blood, she must take the fight to them. One possible strategy could be to get the Nerubians to dig tunnels to Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. These tunnels could serve not only as a hiding place for the Black Blood, but also as a way to take the war directly to the capitals of the mortal races. With coordinated attacks, the Nerubians could transport the now charged blood back to Khadgar, where it could be used to further Xal'atath's plans. With coordinated attacks, the Nerubians could transport the now charged blood back to Khadgar, where it could be used to further Xal'atath's plans. Under these circumstances, the Horde and Alliance would have little choice but to go into battle against Xal'atath's troops. There are even indications that Khadgar, a mole in our own ranks, could play a crucial role in their plan. I explain more about this in a separate video, which I have linked to you in the video description. I promised you at the beginning that I would tell you what the future fate of Azeroth will look like in the war. But first, something on my own behalf. Making videos like this takes a lot of time and effort. I want to earn money with this channel and would like to thank everyone who has supported me so far. Likes, subscriptions, and sharing the video and discussions in the comments help the channel immensely. And if you haven't done so yet, then I have good news for you. For every like, subscription, and comment, I will sacrifice a little bunny. And if the video gets over 10,000 views and 1,000 likes, I will give away a special spam. So what exactly is Xal'atath's ultimate goal for Azeroth? Her ultimate goal is to use the charged blood deposits on Azeroth to breach the veil that separates the void from reality. This breach would give Dimensius direct access to Azeroth. But the plan is far more complicated than it first appears, for Azeroth is no ordinary world soul. Unlike the countless world souls the Void Lords have devoured in the past, Azeroth is exceptionally powerful. Her power can easily rival that of a Void Lord or even a Titan. Therefore, Xal'atath must pursue a precise and thoughtful strategy to achieve her goals. The use of black blood in the correct order is crucial. Here is what I think the correct order will be to subjugate Azeroth. At the beginning, sow doubt and fear. The world soul of Azeroth must be put into a state of doubt and fear. Doubt that its chosen peoples, the Earthen and the Harbinger, could be able to save it in its greatest need. And fear of what the Void Lords or even the Titans could do to it if they enter its prison. Second, build pride. Once doubt and fear are deeply rooted in Azeroth's mind, she will be filled with pride. The pride of being the most powerful being in the cosmos, unmatched in power and influence. This pride will blind her and distort her perspective. Ignite hatred and anger. Pride leads to hatred. Hatred for the Titans who imprisoned her. Hatred for the Void Lords who seek to devour them. Hatred for the jailer who tried to steal all of her life energy to rewrite the cosmos. But hate alone is not enough. Anger is the next necessary step. Anger at her cosmic adversaries who try to control or destroy her. Anger at her chosen ones who they cannot save. And finally, anger at her own hopeless situation. Violence as the final trigger. Hatred and anger are the igniters, but violence is the spark that breaks the chains. In a fit of fury, Azeroth unleashes all its power. The world core explodes on an unprecedented scale. Earthquakes and tsunamis of catastrophic strength shake the world. Huge cracks run through the Earth's crust. Titan facilities that have previously made the seas west of Kalimdor and east of the Eastern Kingdoms impassable are now destroyed. The black blood is surfacing in numerous places around the world, while the veil between Azeroth and the Void is greatly weakened. The servants of the Void are pouring into our reality, an invasion like Azeroth has never seen before. This apocalyptic event marks the beginning of Midnight, or as the Arathi call it, Renelesh, and ultimately spread hopelessness. After her devastating eruption, Azeroth falls into despair. The immense feat of strength has exhausted her, and she realizes that all her efforts have been in vain. This lethargy causes her to resign herself to her seemingly inevitable fate as a meal for Dimensius, the Void Lord, waiting to devour her. But maybe Xal'atath herself has a different agenda. What if she plans not to leave Azeroth to the Void Lords, but to devour the world soul herself, and use that power to ultimately surpass all Void Lords? Because as we have learned from the Void, only the strongest will survive. That's the end of this video. Thanks to everyone who has watched so far. If you don't have a subscription yet, click here. And if you want to see other cool speculation videos about Warcraft lore, click here. So until then, and I'll see you in the next video.